Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and here we are again with another Best of the Rest video. In this episode we're going to be looking at the rest of the green cards in Born of the Gods spoiled this past Friday. The first card we're going to look at is Charging Badger. While it's only a 1/1 trampler for 1, Charging Badger don't care. Look at those teeth! Menacing. That's all I got. Cara Metris Favor is 2 mana for an enchant creature aura. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchant creature has the ability to tap and add 1 mana of any one color to your mana pool. There seems to be a cycle of these 2 mana auras that draw a card on entering the battlefield. Cara Metris Favor might be one of the better ones for limited. It helps you mana ramp and color fix at the same time. Pretty cool. Mischief and Mayhem is 5 mana for a sorcery speed pump spell. Up to 2 target creatures each get +4/+4 until end of turn. This is a late game win condition if anything at all. It's super clunky and essentially a poor version of Overrun. It might see some play in a few draft decks, but it takes a sideline to a lot of other combat tricks. Our next card is Mortal's Resolve, one of the combat tricks I was just referring to when talking about Mischief and Mayhem. Mortal's Resolve is 2 mana for an instant that gives target creature +1/+1 and indestructibility until end of turn. This is the kind of combat spell I'm talking about. It's cheap, it pumps, and pretty much guarantees your creature's survival. This is a good limited card. It'll see play. There had to be a unicorn in a set that had enchantment creatures. Noble Quarry is 3 mana for a 1/1 enchantment creature unicorn with a bestow cost of 6. All creatures able to block the unicorn or the creature it's enchanting has to block it. This cycle of low mana cost but high bestow cost enchantment creatures have been largely underwhelming, but I think this one has some serious value. Lure is a great ability, and the best part about it is that it's useful on any size creature. Whether it's a 6/6, a 10/10, or a 1/1, all creatures have to block it. This actually makes the unicorn relevant after the creature it's enchanting dies. There is value here, in addition to beauty. Ferris-Band Romper is a 4 mana 3/3 Centaur warrior with Inspired. Whenever it becomes untapped, put a 1/1 counter on it. Straightforward. Every turn this thing attacks, it just gets bigger and bigger. Good value for limited and a great filler card for any green draft deck. Stator Wayfinder is a 2 mana 1/1 with a very mulch-like ability. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them into your hand and put the rest in your graveyard. The better non-creature spell version of this card saw standard play in a lot of Reanimator decks. Since that deck has rotated, the Wayfinder may have a little more trouble finding a home. It's a great way to get cards into the yard, but what do you do with them once they're there? Don't get me wrong, I like recursion, but in standard it doesn't seem like a viable strategy right now with a ton of monocolored devotion running around. Citizen Oathsworn is 3 mana for a 1/1 with Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets him, put 2 +1/+1 counters on him. 3 mana for a 1/1 is pretty rough, but if you have something that triggers Heroic on turn 4, you might be okay. Getting 2 +1/+1 counters each trigger is pretty powerful if you can keep them around. Citizen Starbreakers is 4 mana for a 2/1, and when it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target aura. 4 mana is a lot for this. It doesn't even hit all enchantments, so that's a point against it. There are a ton of auras in this upcoming limited format, so it may be more useful than I'm thinking, but right now I think it's relegated to draft sideboard tech. Our next spoiler is Snake of the Golden Grove. 5 mana gets you a 4/4 snake with Tribute 3. When it enters the battlefield, if Tribute wasn't paid, you gain 4 life. So either you're dealing with a 7/7 snake, or a 4/4 snake that acts as an obstinate bailiff. This is good for limited. You're either getting something huge or some life in a decently sized body. I gotta say, I really like Tribute in this limited format. Swordwise Centaur is 2 green mana for a 3/2 Centaur. Garrick's Companion was good, and this will be too. It also gives 2 devotion to green, so it might see play somewhere. Granted, only if that deck is already using Colonian Tusker and just needs more 2-drops. Still, one of the least disappointing vanilla creatures I've seen in a while. That brings us to the end of the rest of the green cards in Born of the Gods. As with the other colors before it, I think most of these are meant for limited play. If you like drafting or sealed, you should have a ton of fun on pre-release and release weekends. Which green cards do you think will perform best next weekend? Are there any that make you destined to thrive? Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Born of the Gods spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.